So, Ethiopians are tearing up Lieutenant General Muhoozi on Twitter, and most of you may not even know why. There's a big war on Twitter between Muhoozi and Ethiopian citizens, and many people don't know why. Lieutenant General Muhoozi posted this on Twitter. My late grandfather Mzee Amos told us that the first Banyankole came from Egypt. When I was there for a course for 6 months, I never had a problem with any Egyptian. If anybody thinks of fighting Egypt, he should know he will be fighting Uganda as well. Now, do you see the reason why Gen.Muhoozi puts Uganda in a position of fighting alongside Egypt? Just because his late grandfather Mzee Amos told him that the first Banyankole came from Egypt. That is the reason he wants to actually put Uganda, if it's going to come to that, at war against Egypt enemies, just because his late grandfather told him that a part of Banyankole come from Egypt. Now, if you do not understand even the reason why I'm talking about this, Gen.Muhoozi has actually reduced Uganda, the whole Uganda, to Banyankole. He has reduced the entire Uganda to Banyankole. That is one. I love Egypt and I love Ethiopia. We are all Africans. Muhoozi made this statement because there is ongoing conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia, and I will tell you briefly about it. And because his grandfather told him that the first Banyankole came from Egypt, he will defend Egypt with whatever we have because of that. My Egyptian brothers, do not get me wrong at all, but I'm a Ugandan. As I love you as a country, as my brothers, your enemies do not become my enemies. Egypt is a key player in the history of civilization, religion, and prestigious stories on Africa's greatness. They are our brothers and they're good friends actually to rely on. Ethiopia, they are our brothers. We have actually many Ethiopians in Uganda more than our Egyptian brothers currently. We have many Ethiopians who are actually making business in Uganda, who have invested in Uganda than Egyptians. So I love Ethiopians as well. But you cannot make a decision to almost go at war if it comes to that just because your late grandfather told you that a first part of Banyankole came from Egypt. You cannot reduce us all. You cannot reduce Uganda as a country to Banyankole. It's unfair. It's uncalled for. I may disagree with your father, Jeno Tibahabulwa, but one thing I respect about him, he's an intelligent man. He's an intelligent man, and sometimes when he speaks wisdom. And actually, it's one of the reasons why he has managed to be president for over 35 years. But unfortunately, I do not see the kind of wisdom coming out of you. It saddens me because it may not be true, but according to what he's circulating is you being groomed to be a next leader. With this kind of words coming out of you, it shows catastrophe. It shows trouble if we are to go there. See, it doesn't take a genius to understand why there is a conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia. I may not talk about it, but as I make this audio, I also know about the conflict between Ethiopia and the Tigray rebels. You may think I'm speaking out of ignorance. No, I know clear about Ethiopia and the Tigray rebels. I know about that. And actually, people who are fighting Ethiopia right now, they're doing so basing on the humanity side of it because of what happened between Tigray rebels and then Ethiopia. But let's not forget that the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia has nothing to do with the rebels with the Tigray rebels and Ethiopia. It is because of the Nile. Everyone knows that. It does not take a genius to know that the conflict between Ethiopia and Egypt, it's the Nile. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you cannot dictate how Ethiopia uses the Nile. You cannot dictate how Ethiopia uses the Nile. Ethiopia, with a source of over 86% of the Nile basin waters, almost puts it at the center. So you cannot dictate how they use the dam, how they use the Nile. Like I said, it does not take a genius to know why this is happening. Ethiopia recently finished a mega dam on the Blue Nile, and there unrest began in Ethiopia. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. That's when the trouble started, when Ethiopia refused to dialogue with Egypt. But again, I do not want to go into Ethiopia and Egypt's conflicts. I do not want to intervene because I don't have a right to speak why Egypt is taking their side and why Ethiopia is taking their side. No, I'm not Ethiopian and I'm not Egyptian. I need to stick where I belong. Like I said, you cannot reduce Uganda to Banyankole. That is wrong. In our common language of today, kamanyiro, disrespect, lack of wisdom. And the other is, as long as I may appreciate the ties that Uganda has with Egypt. Like I said, I don't have any problem with Egypt. So I appreciate the ties that we have with Egypt. But Uganda's position on geopolitical conflicts must be guided by contextual dynamics. And that means that Egypt's enemies do not have to be Uganda's enemies. But the way Lieutenant Gen.Muhoozi made his statement, it's like Egypt's enemies are Uganda's enemies by default. No! Like I said, I appreciate the ties we have with Egypt, but Uganda's position on geopolitical conflicts must be guided by contextual dynamics. Egypt's enemies do not have to be Uganda's enemies by default. And when you look at what is happening, like I said, the position of Ethiopia on the Nile, even though I don't want to take sides, but the current aggression by Egypt against Ethiopia is also unfair, completely unfair, and you are siding with Egypt. Why? Uganda has a very powerful army. Now Uganda is America. From my own knowledge, if I'm right, Egypt has the most powerful army in Africa, followed number 2 by Algeria, number 3 by South Africa, number 4 by Nigeria, number 5 by Ethiopia, number 6 by Angola, number 7 by Morocco. Uganda, we are not even in the first 10. So I really didn't want to talk about the old issue between Ethiopia and Egypt. I don't talk for them. They're my African brothers. I would like to see peace. They have their own reasons. But this is the commander of the land forces that is saying this, literally reducing Uganda to Banyankole. This is wrong. You cannot reduce us to Banyankole. And then putting it in a way like Egypt's enemies are also our enemies by default. That is wrong. Egypt has the most powerful army in Africa. They can take care of themselves. We are not even in the top 10. Like I always say, Uganda, we need more than prayers. If these are our future leaders that they are preparing now, uttering these kind of statements, we need more than prayers. God bless you all. Peace.